Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a journey into the heart of a book that's become a modern classic. Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist.
But not just the book itself.
No, exactly. We're looking at the audiobook experience, which is a huge part of why this story has resonated with so many people who are, looking for a bit of direction.
It really has. I mean, when a story gets translated into over 80 languages, you know it's touching on something universal. So our mission today is to figure out what that is.
Right.
We're going to unpack the 6 core lessons that make this seemingly simple story so powerful, especially for anyone wrestling with self-doubt.
And for anyone wondering about the details, it's a mix of fiction, adventure, and philosophy. And crucially, the audiobook is short.
Yeah, only about 4 or 5 hours.
Which makes it this incredibly potent dose of wisdom. It's very efficient.
It's the perfect length for a story like this. It doesn't overstay its welcome.
So let's start right there with that listening experience. The sources we looked at all say the audio format is, well, it's critical. It's not just hearing a story. It's more like being on a spiritual journey with the main character, Santiago.
The narration is just key. It's always described as calm, very emotional, but also really easy to follow. It's almost like a guided meditation in a way.
I've seen it compared to someone reading you a bedtime story.
Yes, a bedtime story that's just packed with these huge life lessons. And that slow, soothing pace really forces you to be introspective, which you need for these kinds of ideas.
That makes me think about where you should even listen to it. This isn't something you'd have on in the background while you're, answering emails.
No, definitely not. The ideal setting is somewhere quiet. A long walk, maybe while you're traveling, or right before you go to sleep.
So low distraction environment.
Exactly. The sound and the narration, they create this space for reflection. It helps the lessons really sink in, They just land more powerfully because you're in that receptive state.
Okay, so let's set the stage a bit. The plot starts with Santiago, who's a young shepherd in Spain.
Right, in Andalusia.
And he has this recurring dream about a treasure hidden near the pyramids in Egypt. So he sells his flock of sheep and just goes.
And that's the surface story, the treasure hunt. But that's really just the vehicle, isn't it?
That's a metaphor.
It's a huge metaphor. The real story is about finding your purpose, or what the book calls your personal legend.
It's about learning to trust your gut, listening to your heart, even when everything and everyone is telling you you're crazy.
And he's not alone on this journey. He keeps meeting these incredible guides.
Right. There's the old king, Melchizedek, who kind of sets him on his way.
You have the crystal merchant, who's a fascinating character.
And the Englishman, the alchemist himself, of course.
And you can't forget Fatima.
Right, the woman he meets in the desert.
Each one of them teaches him something different. They're like mirrors reflecting all the ways we can either help ourselves or, get in our own way.
Which brings us right to the core of this. The 6 big philosophical lessons that have made this book stick around for so long.
Let's start with the big one. The whole foundation of the book.
The personal legend.
The personal legend. It's this idea that everyone, and I mean everyone, has a special purpose, a destiny. And the key isn't just that it exists, but that the universe actually wants you to achieve it.
It conspires to help you, as the book said.
Yeah, exactly. It's a form of cosmic assistance.
So what does that actually look like practically? I mean, how do you know you're on the right path?
Well, the book talks about beginner's luck. When Santiago first starts, everything just falls into place.
Ah, right.
That initial success is the universe kind of patting you on the back.
Yeah.
It's a reward for having the courage to take that first step. It validates your choice.
And that idea flows right into the second lesson, which is the language of the universe. The universe doesn't exactly shout at you.
No, it whispers. It communicates through signs, omens, intuition, what we might call synchronicity or meaningful coincidences. The lesson is to just pay attention.
Okay, but here's the tricky part. The book tells you to follow signs and omens. How do you tell the difference between a genuine sign and just wishful thinking? Or confirmation bias? That feels like the real struggle for most people.
That is the struggle.
Yeah.
And the books suggest the differences in the feeling and, more importantly, in the risk. Wishful thinking usually leads you toward comfort and ego.
Okay.
But genuine intuition, the language of the universe, it often pushes you out of your comfort zone. It asks for a sacrifice. When Santiago follows a real omen, it almost always leads him into some kind of danger or uncertainty. So it feels right, deep down, even if it looks completely illogical or scary on the surface.
That's a really important distinction. And the thing that stops us from following those scary omens, well, that's lesson number 3.
Fear.
Fear, plain and simple.
And the book shows it comes in so many forms. Fear of failure is the obvious one, but it goes deeper with the Crystal Merchant.
Oh, the Crystal Merchant is such a great character. He dreams of going to Mecca his whole life, but he never actually goes.
Because he's afraid of what happens after.
The fear of success.
Exactly. If he achieves his dream, his life's purpose is gone. The dream itself has become his reason for being. The lesson there is that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's taking action despite the fear.
Which is a huge lesson. Okay, let's shift to lesson 4, love and sacrifice. A lot of stories have this trope where the hero has to choose between love and the quest.
Right, but the alchemist flips that entirely.
Through Sodoma.
Yes. The lesson is that tree love never holds you back from your personal legend. It supports it. Fatima tells Santiago to go to finish his journey.
So she's not the anchor holding him in port, she's the wind in his sails.
A perfect way to put it. True love and destiny are connected. And sometimes the biggest act of love is letting someone go so they can become who they're meant to be, trusting that you'll find your way back to each other.
That brings us to the 5th theme, spiritual transformation. This is where Santiago's journey gets really internal.
This is all about the alchemist's teachings. He teaches Santiago to stop looking for answers outside himself and to start listening to his own heart. It's about realizing he isn't separate from the world. He's part of what the book calls the soul of the world.
And that leads to that very symbolic moment where he has to turn himself into the wind. What is that really trying to tell us?
It's the ultimate test of faith. It's a metaphor for letting go of control and understanding that everything is connected. You, your heart, the desert, the wind. It's the moment he realizes his own potential is limitless, but only if he aligns himself with that greater consciousness.
And that incredible internal journey brings us to the final and maybe the most famous lesson of the book.
The treasure within.
Right. After traveling across the world, facing death, finding love, he learns that the physical treasure he was looking for
Was right back where he started, under a tree in Spain, the whole time.
So the journey was the point, not the destination.
Absolutely. He had to go on the journey to gain the wisdom, the courage, and the self-knowledge to be worthy of the treasure. The outer quest was just a tool to unlock his inner strength.
That's a powerful summary. And it explains the book's nearly perfect rating, a 4.9 out of 5. Let's just quickly recap the strengths.
Well, number 1 is the narration in the audiobook. It's just beautiful. It elevates the whole experience.
Sure.
2, it's short and simple. It's not intimidating. And 3, it's inspiring. It's full of this timeless wisdom that feels very applicable.
Okay, but let's talk about the other side of that. The whole philosophy is built on trusting signs and cosmic support. What about the person who feels like they're doing everything right, but they just keep hitting wall after wall?
That's a very fair critique, and it leads us into the weaknesses. For some listeners, especially those who prefer really practical, non-fiction advice, the book can feel way too abstract.
A little woo-woo, maybe.
A little bit, yeah. The obstacles are always framed as tests of faith, which can be frustrating if you're looking for a concrete strategy.
And what about the story itself? Any weaknesses there?
Some people find the metaphors a bit simplistic.
Yeah.
And if you're someone who loves a fast-paced, action-packed story, this might feel slow, especially the long stretches in the desert.
And the ending can be a bit predictable if you know the hero's journey archetype.
Exactly. You have to know what you're getting into. This is a philosophical experience first and an adventure story second.
So, to sum it up, the Alchemist audiobook is designed to be the spiritual experience. It teaches faith, resilience, patience, and the power of believing in yourself.
It really is a kind of roadmap, which is why it's so often recommended for, anyone who's feeling a bit lost or confused about their path in life, young adults especially.
This has been a great deep dive. It really clarifies why this particular audiobook has had such a massive global impact. It's more than a story. It's a framework for thinking about your own life.
It is. And since we've established that the core lesson is learning to hear that language of the universe, the signs in your own intuition, I'll leave you with a final question to think about. If your personal legend requires you to make scary, difficult choices, how do you learn to trust that quiet initial whisper of genuine intuition when the much louder voice of self-doubt and wishful thinking is always screaming for your attention? Discerning between those two voices, that's the real alchemy, isn't it?